Does this sound familiar to you? You get a call from the school of your child, and the teacher and the principal says that your child is doing good, the child is very polite and calm, listening to the teacher and not doing any kind of mischievous activities. But then when your child comes home, you see a very different personality, a different behavior. And the same thing happens reverse. It can be your child is very, very normal at home, but suddenly there is lot of panic or lot of absurd behavior from your child out of no reason, nowhere, when the child goes to school. If any of it is true for you, then this video is really going to go ahead and help you. Hi, my name is Sandeep Mukherjee. I'm a spiritual healer and life coach. I work with the parents who have neurodivergent kids, and I help them to heal themselves so that they can help the children to heal. Now, if I have whatever I've told you about, your child going to school and then suddenly coming home behaving differently, or vice versa, if you have been going through it and you don't know how to go ahead and handle that situation, then this video is really going to go ahead and help you. Stay till the end. I'm going to give you practical tips so that you don't go ahead and keep panicking on a daily basis. And whatever tips I'm going to give you, this has been tried and tested with the parents whom I'm working very closely, and when they have applied it, they have seen the real impact. So what I'm going to do is, without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Let's get started. So does this sound very familiar to you? Your child had a great day. They were calm, polite, focused, cooperative, and you feel that today is going to be a good day, and you breathe for a moment, and then suddenly there is different behavior from your child. Now then your child walk at the door, then the child starts throwing the backpack, scream over something, the meltdown over homework or dinner happens, they fall apart over a simple question. And you stand there wondering, exhausted, thinking, what happened to my child? Why is that my child is behaving this way? Your child is probably not manipulating you. They are not bad, and this is not simply a discipline problem. What you are seeing is often called as the after school restraint collapse. You can also go ahead and maybe reverse it, maybe after home restraint collapse. But usually it is the environment at the school or wherever there are people, there are public places. So for now, we can just go ahead and stick to the term that after school restraint collapse. A nervous system crashes that happens after a child spends the entire day surviving. And once you understand what's really happening inside their brain and body, everything changes. In this video, I'm going to give you very detailed understanding about it. You don't have to be a person who understands lot of technical things, but you have to understand what is going on and how you as a parent can go ahead and help your child. Now, who does this affects most? This pattern is incredibly common. First of all, it is not just your child or only limited child. It is specifically for autism and ADHD children. Mostly this is very common in them, and most parenting advice misunderstands it completely, because this isn't just a behavior issue, it's an issue of a nervous system issue, right? So it is not something which is done by consciously, it is done in a very unconscious manner. Autistic children who spend the day masking and suppressing their natural behaviors to fit in socially. Now what happens is, usually these children who are autistic and ADHD, they are very silent. They mostly look at people, they understand what are the emotions that these people are going through, but they don't express it. And then what happens is, at one point of time, whenever they are in public, they start feeling very difficult emotionally. And after one point of time, when they are not able to regulate their emotions, they are not able to control themselves, that's when they are actually showing a very different behavior, absurd behavior. ADHD kids who exhaust themselves fighting impulses, forcing focuses, and trying not to look disruptive. Highly sensitive children who process every sensory input intensely and have no filters for the overwhelming school environment. So there could be a possibility your child may not be an ADHD and autistic but still have these experiences because your child is sensory sensitive. Neurodivergent kids who force themselves to fit in, suppress emotions, and stay in survival mode all day long. Today, we are going to uncover why this happens, what masking does to the brain, and why schools silently overwhelm children, and how parents can help without punishment, without shame, and even emotional battles. You may have hit your children, you may have shouted at your children, you may have told your children, shut up, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this kind of behavior, because you thought it is your child's behavioral issue. Actually, it is a nervous system issue. So we are going to go through section by section. Stay till the last section because all the sections are going to help you to understand, to decode it, to know what exactly it means, and to also know how can you go ahead and handle this by yourself. What is after school restraint collapse? After school restraint collapse happens when a child spends the entire day holding themselves together emotionally and then completely falls apart once they feel safe. At school, the cap is tightly closed. Suppress emotions and tolerate stress, follow social rules and force focus, ignore sensory discomfort all day, try desperately to appear normal. These are all conditions and pressures put by schools on a regular basis and of course they have the intention that they want to make sure that the children are able to understand what is discipline and how does the discipline work. It works for the normal children to an extent, it has to work, but for the autistic children, for the neurodivergent children, and even for the children who are very, very sensitive, who have sensory overload issues, even for them it's an extreme pressure and they are not able to handle that continuously. Think of your child like a shaken soda bottle. Pressure keeps building internally all day long. Then they finally get home to the one place where their nervous system feels very, very safe and enough to release everything. And the explosion happens there. That's when they come home, that's when the explosion happens. Now you will be questioning, why is that then when my child goes to school, then this thing happens? At home, the child is normal. Why does this happen at school if actually it is helping them to feel comfortable at home and then they are behaving in that way? So the answer for that is because as soon as your child is going there at school, the child is immediately experiencing the sensitivity of the entire class, of the people around, and it starts overwhelming right from the time the child is getting ready to go to school, because the moment he thinks about it, he or she regardless of the gender, he or she thinks that the moment they start thinking about it, it starts feeling and they start going through those emotions and experiences, that overwhelmingness that they may have experienced a day before, or maybe in last 1 week, or maybe last 1 month, and it keeps building up because there is nobody who understands what is exactly going on, and everybody is trying to only work upon the symptoms. Don't cry, don't shout, don't do this, bad behavior. The parents say this, and also the school doesn't go ahead and just welcome that, because for them, they want to make sure that there is peace, there is discipline everywhere. So the child doesn't know who can understand them, and that's when the moment they go to school, they feel a very, very overwhelmed experiences. So children often collapse most with the people they trust the most. Your child melts down with you not because you failed, but because you are their safest place. Let's move to section 2, the hidden work of masking. One of the biggest things parents miss in something called masking When neurodivergent children suspects their natural behaviors to fit in socially, imagine doing this for 7 hours straight. Like, the society wants you to be normal, to behave normally, and that is what is expected from this autistic children, to just be normal. Now what happens is, when there is such an enormous pressure on these children to behave normally, to act normally, and be in that discipline, be that restricted thing continuously, they don't want to go ahead and experience that, or they cannot do that for a whole 7 hours, and that's what keeps building up their tensions. So autistic masking looks like, how does it looks like for autistic, and how does it looks like for ADHD? I'm sharing the difference for both of the category. Forcing eye contact, coping social behaviors, suppressing stimming, rehearsing conversations mentally, hiding confusions, constantly monitoring themselves. This is all happens inside within them when they are continuously trying to be normal. ADHD masking looks like fighting the urge to move, forcing concentration, suppressing impulsivity, trying not to look disruptive, over controlling emotions, and exhausting themselves to keep up. The scary part, teachers often don't see the suffering because the child appears fine, but internally the nervous system is burning through energy all day long. And some experts call this the body budget, and every stressor, noise, pressure, masking, sensory overload, emotional suppression, social anxiety withdraws energy from the nervous system. And eventually the nervous system runs out of capacity. So what happens is, you're looking at the child, the teacher is looking at the child is appearing very normal, very decent, very calm. But internally, because there is so much of fighting going on with the nervous system, with the thoughts, with the experiences, and with the overwhelmingness, the child is trying to hold it as long as the child is there at school. It's like somebody wants to go to washroom, but they don't know when to go because the lecture is going on, and they hold the pressure of that. Eventually, you know what happens. So moving to the section 3, why school can overwhelm the nervous system. Most schools are extremely overstimulating for neurodivergent nervous system. Many neurotypical brains filter this automatically, but neurodivergent brains do not, which means your child may be processing everything intensely. Sensory environment, buzzing lights, scraping chairs, uncomfortable clothes, sound overload, hundreds of voices, people chatting, even just somebody writing with pencil or pen, that if there is a noise of it, just like moving the pages and all, that is still affecting them. Crowded halls, unpredictable noises, social pressure, be good, be nice, emotional expectations, peer interaction, social anxiety, cognitive overload, constant instructions, transitions every hour, forced focus, physical discomfort, movement restriction, don't move from here to there, crowded spaces, and sensory sensitivity, emotional suppression, masking all day long. I'm fine, I am a good child, I have to be normal, I don't have to do anything mischievous, or else the teacher will shout at me. All this pressure, hiding distress, and all trying to appearing fine. So by the end of the school day, their nervous system is overloaded. The one thing at home becomes a final trigger. Not because the request itself is huge, but because their nervous system was already so full. Like the bladder overload. That's what exactly you can go ahead and give that understanding here. That's why homework, dinner conversations, or even how was your day can suddenly trigger a meltdown. It's accumulated, overloaded, and not a bad behavior issue.